stress and heartache of having another lady in my kids' lives? So it's an important question. When we talk about life transitions for people, and life transitions are something that we all will have to endure, encounter, face throughout our lifetime. Whether it's a divorce, or if it's a death, or it's a birth, or whatever it is, there's going to be transition periods throughout life. And I think one of the most important ways to approach a transition is setting an intention for the transition. It doesn't have to be stressful, right? It doesn't have to be stressful. Stress is something that we're already assigning to it. And we start to stress about something like a divorce because we have a fear that perhaps if there's another lady in our kids' lives, it's going to make us less significant, less of value to them, less important. What if instead we start to look at it and say, well, there's another lady in my kid's life, and I love my kids so much that I know I'm an amazing mom. I'm going to do what I can do to continue to be an amazing mom, and maybe she might complement some of the things that I already do, and then just make my kids' lives more amazing, which is really what's the most important thing to me, right? Here's the thing. If we think about it for the kids, and we really put them first, rather than our own needs, our own fears, our own insecurities, we can probably find a way to really make it work. Right? Being the best mom that we can be. Setting the standard so high that then for another person to come in, the only thing that they can do is try to match that bar, which is what I would imagine you'd want for your kids, right? And in doing so, it's going to create an environment for your children that I think they could really thrive in and alleviate a lot of stress from you. You see, if you're doing what you can do to be the best mom that you can be, that's all you can really ever do. And in the scenario before your divorce, that may have been enough where there wasn't the stress with it. Does that make sense? As far as the heartache of a divorce, that's just time that's going through the grieving process. And again, you have to set an intention because it's a life transition. You have to set an intention for what your outcome you want on this. Some things have to end for others to begin. The relationship must not have been working in some way. And if you want a relationship that does work, this relationship needs to come to a close so that a new one can begin. And just the same as your kids might have to learn to adjust to a new woman in their life. If you decide to date somebody else and bring another man into your life, your ex-husband is going to have to learn the same adjustment. And again, if you set the standard right now going into it of what you want those expectations to be, I imagine that you'll be able to find a partner that will do the same. Only be able to provide more value to the lives of your children and really be able to lift them up. So I hope that helps. Great question, because it's one that we can all relate to. And everybody needs to think about it at some point. Not necessarily for divorce, but life transitions in general. Question number 2 comes to us from Violet Brown. And Violet asks, hey Jesse, have you ever thought of developing a program for younger people to address the bullying, suicide, and other issues they face daily? Maybe even a video series. I think a lot of younger people would be able to relate to how you felt growing up and your experiences. You could add a lot of value. Violet, I have absolutely thought about this, and I have thought about it a lot. And I haven't thought about it so much for the bullying aspect. I've thought about it for kind of, I don't know if you'd call it the inverse, but this is what I thought about. Instead of bullying, instead of the focus being on bullying, what if you called it something like a spark of hope? And the reason I say that is because when we talk about bullying, right, this is the pink elephant. We have to think about what not, if I say don't think of the pink elephant, you have to think about what not to think about to not think about. Well, when we're always talking about bullying and we're always thinking about bullying, guess what's always on the top of our minds is bullying. Okay, when a kid is participating in bullying, or an adult for that matter, because it doesn't stop with kids, right? Adults can be bullies too, and oftentimes adults are some of the bigger bullies. When somebody's bullying, it's usually because they feel such a sense of insignificance that they do the act of bullying to try to feel more significant, to feel more important. Okay? They want the attention, they want the recognition, be it positive or negative, they want it, right? Those of you who have taken courses from me before, you know that oftentimes many ways we meet our needs is in a negative way. Might be some sort of positive intent behind it, but we do it in a perceivingly negative way, kind of like bullying. And so when you have somebody who's engaging in the act of bullying to feel more significant, what happens is that significance is reinforced when we're talking about bullying all the time. My question is, and this is where I've always thought about doing something with it, is what would it be like if instead of focusing on bullying, we did something and we called it like the spark of hope. And what we used the focus on was not so much on stopping bullying, but the focus was instead on how do we interject hope? How do we inspire hope? How do we inspire kids who are prone to bullying and kids who are prone to be bullies? Especially the kids who are prone to be bullies. How do we interject hope into them? How do we spark hope into them? How do we change the way we parent, the way we educate kids so that we can look and see what is fundamentally missing in their life or lacking, or what do they feel like they're not getting, and then figure out ways to interject that, whether it's through the school system, whether it's continuing education at home for parents, whether it's through after-school activities or sports teams or whatever it is. I think if you started to approach it in this way and really, instead of focusing on the bullying aspect, and focus instead on the inspiring hope and teaching significance, helping kids find that way, or adults, to find that way to feel significant inside of themselves where they're lacking and they feel like they need to act it out, I think that might really start to change things. So to answer your question, yes, I have thought about it. I've thought a lot about it. And I hope it's something I can do at some point. I think it'd be really cool to be able to partner up with an educational institution, maybe a school system, test it out and see if there's any difference. Which, I'm putting this out there now, if there's anybody who's an educator, a teacher out there, somebody who works with kids predominantly and is interested at all in exploring this in more detail, I would love to chat with you. Because I would think it would be more beneficial to partner, have a two-pronged approach like that. Anyways, let me know what you think. That's just my thoughts. I hope you guys found value in this. If you did, please share it please share it with your friends and family. I would love to hear what you think. So leave me a comment below and let me know. If you liked what I had to say, or if you want to know more information, or you want to have a discussion about it, please leave it. I love reading your thoughts and your insights. I learned a lot from them too. Thank you so much, everybody, for asking all the great questions, and I look forward to doing this again with you next week. We'll see you then.